Hello, this is Carolyn with the Contemplative Sciences Center at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia, USA. And you're watching a series of videos on contemplative course design. If you have not watched any of the previous videos, I encourage you to have a look at those. We are on 5C, core job description. So this is part of a little subgroup of reflective exercises for instructors, particularly instructors in higher education. So what I'd like you to do, if you did the previous exercise, thinking about dispositions in students that you would hope to cultivate, here is where I invite the attention and the awareness and the inquiry towards yourself. So 5 years out, how do I hope colleagues, students remember me? Again, I invite you to draw your attention away from the content of your field, your mastery of your discipline, perhaps even your sharp skills in your discipline, and to consider your disposition, your attitude, how you are, how you relate to other people, how you relate to circumstances, ideas, your students, your colleagues. And so if you've got a piece of paper and a pen or some other way of writing, I'd like you to take a moment and pause and consider, how do I want to be with myself, with other people, with ideas and experiences? Again, thinking about those disposition terms about patience, collaborative, generous, any other terms that come to your mind. Hopefully you hit pause and did a bit of writing. So Mary Rose O'Reilly, in her book Radical Presence, talks about the ideal job description. I have changed this exercise slightly to call it the core job description. So in her book, she's describing having a crisis of identity. She is feeling great overwhelm from workload, family, etc. So she writes, somewhere in the middle of this crisis, the idea of composing a job description for myself occurred to me. I decided to write down a sentence that reflected my clearest sense of the task. Then I could feel that, whatever else got screwed up, I had been faithful to some inner light. Peaceful listening, I wrote on a 3x5 card and tacked it over my desk. The phrase helped me to pull my days together. When all the phones were ringing, committee meetings, students lining up, I could tell myself the only thing that needs to happen is peaceful listening. And so I'd like to invite you into a space of some reflection on what your core job description might be. Never mind the teaching and the committee work and the scholarship and the research and the advising and all of that. What is it? Your dispositional approach, your way of being. What is the most essential thing for you to get done that day in order to feel that you have been living and working in alignment with your deepest values? Rather than pausing and asking you to write on your own, I'm going to invite you to keep the video going as I ask a series of questions. So if you'd like to maybe look away from the screen, have your pen and paper handy, I'd invite you to take a few moments to write, what is it that you want to bring to others? What attitudes, what disposition, what way of being would you like to bring to your encounters with other people? Maybe consider, how is it that you wish to be remembered by your colleagues, by your students, by your loved ones? Perhaps consider someone you admire, someone you enjoy spending time with, someone you remember with much warmth and affection. And consider how they were. Consider some of their characteristics, traits, disposition, attitude. How were they with other people, with ideas? And perhaps consider when you feel most deeply aligned with your values. What is it that you're doing when you feel most deeply aligned with what is most important to you? And take as much time as you'd like to write. And the invitation is to come up with your core job description of perhaps just 2 or 3 words. And when you have that, write it down and pack it up in a place of prominence to ground you during times of disruption or agitation. Thanks so much for your time.